Welcome to Sip, Savor, and Celebrate. I'm Chris.
I'm Devin.
Today we're going to be doing a tasting review of Clase Azul reposado. Probably one of the most recognizable bottles. You've probably seen it at a lot of your upscale restaurants and bars. Everybody loves to just ring the bell, you know. This one comes out of NAM 1595. That is from, and I just, of course, pulled it up on the phone, Tequila Matchmaker, one of the best apps for checking out tequilas before you buy it. They give the community is giving it a score of 83. We're going to do a quick tasting review of it today. It does come from the Casa Tradicional distillery. They're in Jalisco, Mexico. It is coming, of course, from the Altos region for the agave that they use to make this tequila. Very recognizable. They actually hand paint these from one of the local glass makers. I hope I get to go visit one of these days, but that's what we're going to be tasting today.
Yeah, this came on the market about 2 years ago is when it really hit the market and went big. You saw it first in a lot of your southern states at a much more reasonable price point than in your northern states across the country. But, just like everything else, you got shipping included in that makes it. In Florida, this is about a $99 bottle of tequila, so not terrible. Up here,
It's $150 to $180. I paid $180 for this particular one, but if you shop around, you can find some really good deals. Tequila Matchmaker is a great one. Always find different areas in where you're at to actually purchase from, or I see they always have it on sale at siptequila.com. It's one of my favorite sites to get some of my extras. But I kind of have an obsession right now. But one last thing before we do the quick review of this is that before, of course, I was just like everybody else. You got to have the lime and the salt, and and it's the worst stuff in the world. The shots that you always get, the stories that you don't want to have repeated. But then him and I were over at the restaurant here in town, and I saw this beautiful bottle, and I'm like, ooh, what's that? And he says, well, it's tequila. And I'm like, okay. He says, well, why don't you give it a shot? And so we both tried a glass, and I was blown away. Now, yes, I know a lot of people are on the fence when it comes to Clase Azul because it's always very expensive, and there's a lot of people that say this really has additives in it, extra sugars and stuff to make it taste a little better, but I guess it really is a good way to start with tequila. I call it the gateway tequila.
and I don't disagree. It is a very good, palatable tequila. I mean, we've come from a background of not only now tequilas, but bourbons, whiskeys, scotches, wine. Wine was actually the first thing that you guys kind of,
got obsessed with.
Taught me how to enjoy, and then I taught you about bourbons and what to look for in those, and then while I was away, cigars were something that I was introduced to that really shows us the difference in flavors, and I brought that back, and then we've talked about this pretty bottle, but we haven't always, really did anything. So, yeah, like you said, when we saw it at that restaurant, it was like, okay, let's try it. And, that's where our journey started.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this.
This is a really cool bottle. He rang the bell before, but, keep in mind that is one cool thing is the top is kind of like a bell. It rings. It's really cool.
One for you. So first off, let's see how she has an effect on the glass. As they always say, tears and legs. Tears if you're married, legs if you're single.
And, and when he means by that is when you look at it, you're looking for how it coats and then how it runs down.
Right.
That is what he's referring to as the tears in the legs. And if it coats, then it's a good product. It's going to have some flavors to it. If it's essentially the same glass when you hold it up to a light, then it's not very thick. It's not, got a
Right.
good quality to it. Same thing you're looking for in your wines and your bourbons as well. You're swirling those to not only burn off some of that extra alcohol, but you're also, trying to get the air in there to, aliven those flavors.
Right. Let it open up. Let it open up a minute or so. I forgot. It's been a while since we've had the. I forgot what this smells like. It's wonderful. It's very, like I said, when I say that it's a gateway tequila, it's the first one that really got me in the mood of like, oh, tequila's supposed to taste good? What?
Well, and that's one thing that we've differed on opinion for years is we would go to a bar or club and I would like the Patrons and 1800, but keep in mind those are what everyone has because they're kind of inexpensive. But on those, you have to look through the alcohol taste to be able to get through to what they're actually made of.
Right.
Where these are typically alcohol backwards, and so you're going to get those flavors on the nose and the tip of the tongue as well as all the way through the palate.
So, on the nose, oh, so beautiful. It's first I get, right off the bat, I get vanilla. I get a little bit of chocolate, and I get the sweet agave, the wonderful cooked sweet agave. Oh man, that's just wonderful. The vanillas, the chocolates, and if you go into there, you also get a little bit of cinnamon. So it's almost kind of like baking spices, It's, oh God. It just smells absolutely wonderful. Definitely worth at least having it one time. Now, is this something that anybody could just keep buying every day? Of course not. Of course not. This is something you want to share with friends and someone special as well if you want, but you don't drink it every single day, obviously, for that price. Now, the funny thing is, or not so funny, I guess, is the price scale that goes with this. I mean, they've got bottles that start at like $100 for their Blanco, and they go all the way up. I've seen one as high as $8,000 for the extra añejo. But all the bottles are hand painted and they're different, and it's definitely a market that they have cornered for getting people to start on
Love
tequila.
that chocolatey caramel
I
that you
know.
get out of this one.
That chocolate and caramel.
I don't get so much spice out of it, but that chocolate and caramel all
Well,
day.
when I say baking spices, I mean like what you would smell in like you're gonna go ahead and make yourself a wonderful cake or a spice bundt cake or something like that, and you smell. Oh man, it's just like I want a piece of that. All right. First step, just to get used to the 40% alcohol. Never really try to discern it on your first sip, but get your palate used to the alcohol.
And keep in mind, we are sipping this. We aren't
Mm-hmm.
shooting it. We aren't, doing anything crazy. It is just a sip.
Yeah, I get the same thing that I'm nosing. I'm getting vanilla and chocolate. I get a little bit of pepper on there, which you should. And a good tequila, you should still actually get that pepper. I'm not talking about the heat that you get from like a Jose Cuervo Gold. That just like, no, not like that. But you get a little bit of pepper. It's sweet and savory, definitely.
There's a little bit of citrus in there, as you should, because,
I don't get
agave is a little bit of a fruit. So you get, that it's very, very subtle on the very, very back. After you get that caramel and then chocolate, the finish is just a very, subtle citrus.
I kind of see that. I'm not getting that as much as you are per se, but it's wonderful. I forgot what this tastes like. I probably haven't had a glass of this in at least 5 months. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Oh yeah. And of course, the longer you let it sit, it opens up. You get some great flavors in there. One thing, I'm sure you're already into tequila if you're already finding our page, but um, just always want for the newbies out there, I always like to let everybody know, of course, how tequila is kind of put together and made. I mean, first, of course, they take their piñas. You've probably seen them, those spiky things that look like like the top of a pineapple. And when they go ahead and they shave off all the leaves to where they just got this little, what they call a piña. Can you grab that fortaleza up there, right back there, right in the back? Yep. So if you look right here at the top, this is kind of how, that's kind of what a piña looks like, is the top of this bottle. And what they do is, of course, they shave off all the leaves, and then they split it in half, and they cut right the heart of it out, like at the edge where the roots were. That's kind of the most fibrous and bitter part. So they cut that out, and there's several different steps, and depending on how the next steps go, depends on how the flavor of the juice will be. The traditional way is, of course, putting it into a brick oven, or now they've got these these clave onions, onions, these clave onions. Wow, I can't speak today. They're stainless steel ovens, basically. It's kind of like a massive Instapot. And they either use low or high pressure to cook it. But obviously in the brick ovens, that's where you get the little more flavors. And what that is doing, when you bake the piña, it actually converts the starches into sugars. And after that's been baked for several hours, then they actually shred it up. And a traditional place will use a Tahona wheel, which is usually a wheel that is carved out of a volcanic stone. And then they actually roll it around on top of the fibers and squish out all of the juice. And then, of course, they use waters from certain areas. The traditional way was, of course, from the volcanic waters that come down from the mountains there in Tequila, Mexico, which is kind of cool. But there's other ways. A lot of people are experimenting with natural springs and shipping in different waters or deep well, or, and that's what contributes to the flavors. Well, after that, they put it into a vat. Either it's a big wooden or a stainless steel or a concrete vat, and then they either introduce a yeast, like a champagne yeast or one of that, or some of them will actually take the longer time and use the natural yeast in the air. That just takes a longer period of time to ferment. So usually it's like a 4 to 6 day fermentation with using active yeast. But when they leave it out and let the natural yeast go, it usually goes like 10 to 14 days, depending on the distillery and the flavors that they're trying to get. From there, then of course they'll use stills. A lot of them like to either start with double copper stills or one copper, one stainless steel. And then after that, you will get what's called your still strength Blanco. They'll usually basically water it down to get to the exact, usually it's about 40% ABV. But still strength is, of course, a lot higher. And when you do that, you get a little more pepper on the end there. But that's what you start with. Now you've got your Blanco. That's your tequila. That's the finest essence of what the juice is. From the Blanco, they then go to reposado. Now, reposado just basically means rested. When you take the Blanco and you rest it in barrels, typically, like this particular one is rested in American oak barrels. It then rests for up to, but not longer than a year. That means it's a reposado. If you go past a year, now you go from what's called a reposado to an añejo. Añejo is when it's rested from 1 year to 3 years. that's your añejo. Past the añejo, once you get past 3 years, then all of the rest of it is in the new category, and it's called extra añejo. Like the Tears of La Rona, or even the Resol up there. That Resol would be your...
You got it buried up there. I can't just pull it out.
Well, here's one right here. This is an extra... Is that one añejo or an extra añejo? That one is a... Yeah.
So that's your Blanco.
The black one. The black one.
That's your Blanco.
Yeah.
So that's your non-rested form.
Yep.
And then
That's the extra añejo. This one happens to be Asombroso, 5-year extra añejo. So Blanco, Reposado, and then, well, if you want to get the other Fortaleza. So like, yeah. So here I've got the Blanco. So you got Blanco, Reposado, Añejo, extra Añejo. Of course, I got other different kinds, and I'm working on getting the run of them so that way they're all the same brand. And then we'll
just
just the introduction
point so that you can see as we're talking about these various things.
I'm just getting excited. I'm just getting going with a Blanco, and I've ordered a bunch of different kinds, and I'm getting really excited about tequilas. I've got a lot of other things. We're not going to be reviewing just tequila only, but it is a lot of what I have. We will be doing whiskeys and bourbons and
restaurants.
Yes.
So the name of our channel is Sip, Savor, and Celebrate. Sorry about
Cheers.
that. And the reason we came up with that is because we do enjoy going out and finding various finds, different alcohols to enjoy with friends, family, etc. And then it's all about celebrating life. One of our favorite places to go is Miami. We love to go there.
Yes.
It's a celebration every time we go there.
Yes.
I've lived in Orlando for several years, and they would come down, so it would be fun to, for them to come down. I'm just up the road, I pop down, and it's, no matter what you do, it's a celebration, from rooftop pools to cigars down on the beach, to,
Right.
Our favorite restaurants. So, that is what we classify as celebrating life. And who's better to do it with than family and best friends?
Friends, yep.
As you see behind us, we've got, not only one, but we've got 2 other liquor cabinets here full of everything from, whiskeys and bourbons to, the start of our tequilas, as well as, more tequila over here.
All tequila, top shelf tequila over here. Then you've got rums. I've got rums, gins, bourbons, whiskeys. I don't have scotch yet. Ooh.
I have scotch.
But I do have, I just grabbed a couple of cognacs as well, so we'll be reviewing those some other time. Anyways, so in the meantime, remember to just sip, savor, and don't forget to celebrate. Cheers.